Hey Lou, my name is Richard Alm. I just moved here from New Mexico. I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm looking to buy a home that's a good fixer-upper, and I need to know what to look for.
You know what, Richard, if you're looking for a fixer-upper, whether it's for yourself or to sell, there are some things you need to consider. Now, our very first home that my wife and I purchased was the House of Brown. Brown siding on the outside, brown trim, brown paneling. Everything seemed to be brown inside this house, but it had charm. It was a bit of advice I had gotten years ago that when you're going to buy a house, make sure it has charm. And then remember, you got to figure out what it's going to cost you. You know, once you realize the investment you're going to make to purchase this home and all the financing and all this other kind of stuff that goes into actually acquiring the home, what kind of money are you going to have left to actually renovate the home? And where do you start? Remember that it starts with good bones. You want to make sure that the foundation is solid, that the mechanicals, things like the heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical system are in decent shape. And if they're not, that's where you start to invest your money. Because you don't just want to put a leather coat on a sow's ear because you're still left with a sow. When you take your time and work with that kind of information, where the guts first, then you can go and attack things like the bathroom, the kitchen, the bedrooms, even adding trim and carpeting, hardwood flooring. All of these things take time, but your fixer-upper will be a gem in the neighborhood when you're done. This question comes to us at HouseSmartsTV.com. Gail writes, can you give me some helpful tips on staining wood replacement windows that I had installed? Well, Gail, I'm going to assume that your windows have a pine interior because that's really about 90% of the wood replacement windows that go in. Now, the key element when it comes to staining pine is to use a stain sealer. This is especially true when you're talking about darker stains. Now, here's an example that we did for you. This is a darker stain on pine. Notice if you look closely, it's kind of blotchy. You see that dark shades versus the lighter shades in the stain. Now, take a look at this piece right next to it. This one, as you can see, the color is more consistent, and the secret to that is what you do before applying the stain. Take a look. This is a product called a wood sealer. It's a clear finish that goes onto the pine prior to staining. So you take a little brush like this and you dip it in there. Almost looks like a very thin polyurethane. Here's a naked piece of pine that I'm just going to go ahead and paint on. You may see a little bit of the shine going in there, but as you work this back and forth, what happens is it soaks in and takes those pine fibers and actually helps them stick together. When you're done, this piece is already done and dry. About a day or so later, it looks like this. Now you can apply your stain and get a nice consistent color every single time. Just like any good paint job, the key is in the prep work.
For more information, check out our website at HouseSmartsTV.com.